Hello and welcome to the Kick in the Creatives podcast, hosted by myself, Sandra Busby, and my fellow creative Tara Roskell, offering you interviews, inspiration, motivation, and a gentle prod in the right direction. And for lots more information, challenges, and other useful tools to help you get creating, you can go to kickinthecreatives.com. And of course, this is where you can also find today's show notes. Enjoy the show. Welcome to today's episode, and today we're going to chat about prioritising the fun stuff. But before we get onto that, thank you so much to everyone who's been sharing the work they've been doing for the challenges on social media. Keep them coming. We love seeing what you're doing. And also a big thank you to our latest Ko-fi supporters. Your support shows us that you like what we do and you'd like us to continue.
And finally, thanks to our sponsor, Evolve. Evolve can teach you how to paint in a realism style to a professional level in a year or less, and for a fraction of the price of art school. Not only do they provide all the lessons and support online, but they also send you all the materials that you need as well. You can watch a free webinar from Evolve by going to kickinthecreatives.com/Evolve webinar, or to hear more about the programme, you can go back and listen to episodes 67 and 73. Anyway, Sandra, what is new with you?
Well, not a lot. And that's really because we're kind of recording this one pretty much directly a week after the last one, aren't we? So not a great deal is happening with me. I haven't started a new painting yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to paint yet. And actually, I'm quite happy with that. It's quite nice to have a bit of break from the easel and just, start having a bit of fun in my sketchbook. And I'm not pressuring myself to get on with another painting. To be honest, I need to make some room because I've got quite a few paintings all just sort of hanging around the art studio at the moment, waiting for the gallery to come back over. He's actually been chasing me. He emailed me yesterday and said, is your muffin ready yet? I was like, oh, yes, it is actually. It's plenty dry enough now. And he said, right, okay, I'd like to come and take a look at that and any other paintings you've got, so I can get it back to the gallery for the exhibition, which I think is the end of April. So I've got all these sort of paintings hanging about. One of them obviously being the cake, which is big, and I'm not rushing to start any new one just yet until they're all out of the way and I can see the wood for the trees, because sometimes you're surrounded by your stuff, and actually sometimes to get a new idea you just need a blank space. do you know what I mean?
I'm always surrounded by stuff.
Yeah, but I'm talking about art. I mean, you put yours in a box. Oh, are you? Do you have it all around you? Well, I am,
because now I'm working on canvases. They won't fit in a box.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a pain, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And it's hard because, where do you put them? Where do you keep them?
I know.
It's difficult.
And I need to varnish mine. Mine all need varnishing because they're mixed media. I need to varnish them to seal them in.
Yeah. Do you use a spray on the mixed media?
Yeah. But I need a sunny day that's not windy so I can do it outside.
Yeah.
Because obviously I do not want to spray that stuff inside.
Yeah.
Of course, we haven't had many of those, have we?
God, I was going to say, good luck with that.
Yes,
yesterday, I went to work yesterday and it was absolutely freezing cold. And then 20 minutes later, the sun came out and it was really, really bright. It was lovely. Then probably an hour after that, it went dark, chucked it down with rain, started thundering, really windy. And then the afternoon was bright and sunshine. It's just crazy. It's like 4 seasons in a day, honestly. So it's really weird in the UK at the moment. I think it's the same everywhere, isn't it? I think I read yesterday in Dubai,
I saw that
floods.
this morning, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's dry country and they're having floods. So I think it's all over the place at the moment. But it's hard to find the perfect. I always find that with photographing the paintings as well, finding the perfect light. It's always either too sunny or too dull. It's never sort of like just right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's nice to be chased because it's funny being chased by him because I chased him for long enough, didn't I? Trying to figure out what was going on with my paintings, only to find that he'd sold 3 of them. So anyway, he's coming along. He'll be choosing which ones he wants to take away. The donuts, I'm still very much umming and ahhing about, because we spoke about
Does
this.
he want that one?
Oh, I know he will, because when
Yeah.
he saw the photo, he said, oh, that's lovely. I love that. It's really fun. I was like, don't think I'm going to give you that one. But it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Because I did sort of think about putting it up in the house because I was going to keep it, but I don't know where to put it. It doesn't really sort of go with anything.
Or maybe you should just get yourself a limited edition made for you.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you.
Anyway, so apart from that, no, nothing art-wise. I'm just playing. I'm prioritizing the fun stuff, Tara.
Yeah.
What about you? What is new with you?
Well, I've been experimenting more with ink on canvas. I think I said this last time. I tried it and I was amazed it actually worked.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the first one I tried, I can't remember what had happened at the time, but basically I completely messed it up because I overdid the charcoal. And so I thought, I'm going to try and see if I can salvage this canvas, because I'd sort of carried on and it just looked a disaster. So I put a coat or two of gesso on it, and then I put some collage on it, and then I started working over that when it was dry. Oh my God, I messed that one up as well. And so I started again with it. I bought some A1 canvases, so not as big as the previous one. But I thought if I buy that size, I can get a bit of a feel for using the ink until before I go even bigger.
Yeah.
So I bought 5 of those, and I've worked on 2 of them so far, and they've gone much better. Not the best thing I've ever done or anything, but I'm starting to get the feel for how much charcoal and stuff I can put down on those. So that was good. And then I've also currently got someone who I wasn't quite sure if it's a scammer or not. They are getting cleverer. They are getting much, much cleverer. So this is a Facebook thing. You get them, they come all the time and they just say, I want to buy your art.
Like yeah.
Okay, well, this one started off slightly differently. She just
can I just guess? Can I just guess in case I've had the same one?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. I've had 2 recently, and they start off with, wow, I love your artwork. Is all of the artwork on your page your own?
No, I always get that one. I've had that one a lot.
And it's always, and the minute I get that, I know straight away they're into NFTs. And I go on their profile, sure enough, NFTs. And I'm just like, I just go straight back now and say, before you ask, no, I don't sell my art as NFTs. And no, I'm not interested.
No, this started a bit more subtle. So it was just like, oh wow, I've just come across your art. Just want to tell you I love it. And that was kind of it.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so I go back and say, and I'm thinking, I go look at a profile and there's not much on it. But I think what it may be, if it is someone who was originally genuine, I think they've hacked them.
Oh.
Because this person's had this, the profile's been there a while, but there's only a few pictures on it. So it's almost like someone did have it and someone may have taken it over, if you know what I mean. So anyway, then the person started thinking, yeah, I think this is dodgy. I said, oh, thank you very much, and I said, I paint blah, blah, I told them what I painted. I painted some dogs and a lot of faces. I'm a big dog lover. She goes back, she goes, oh, dogs are my life. And I've actually searched the woman, and the actual real woman is into dogs.
Right.
The real person, yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, I still think it's dodgy. So anyway, then she says, oh, I am interested in buying something. I said, and I thought, because they don't say which one at first, which is, a giveaway as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then I go, oh, okay. I said, what sort of thing are you looking for? And then she goes, oh, I love this one. And she sends me a picture of it. I said, oh, and I thought, I know, because that hasn't been varnished yet. So I just say, oh, that one's currently in need of varnish. And usually what I would expect them was them to come back and say, oh, I also like this one.
Yeah.
Because they just want to get on with it, don't they?
Yeah.
So, but she didn't. And I thought, that's strange. I said, oh, it's varnishing. Do you want me to let you know once it's available? She goes, oh, yes, please, if you could, and give me prices as well. I thought, that's strange. And I said, then I went on a call, I'm in the group I'm in.
Yeah.
And I said, see if you can get their email, because they won't often want to give away an email or anything. So I went and I said, oh, any chance I could have your email? and then I can send you details through. And she goes, oh, yes, of course. Sends me your email. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure. So anyway, I sent pricing to the email, have had no response. And then this morning, I got up and had a look, and she goes, how much are these? So I thought, oh, here we go. So now she's asking about others.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it is a scam now, because it hasn't responded to the email. But now on my Facebook, she's now put not just one picture. She's put one of my ones where I'm saying, which one do you like best? And she's put, how much are these? Not like, I like number 2. Do you know what I mean?
Well, don't write it off yet, but I know what you mean. They are getting very clever.
So I've gone back and said, oh, you can find these all on my website, because if I thought it was genuine, I'd then start properly talking.
Yeah.
So we'll see what I get from that. Because they don't want to buy.
It's funny. It's almost
they don't want to buy from that.
It almost sounds like when anyone's interested in your work, it's like, oh, that's really dodgy. That's really strange that they like my stuff.
But you have to be like that. That's the problem.
Well, that is the problem. And I'll tell you what, you get more people communicating with you who are scammers when it comes to showing interest in your work verbally, because there are plenty of people that will click a like and go, yeah, I like it or whatever. But as soon as any interest is shown, in my experience, it's more often scammers. And I don't know if they think artists are completely stupid or what. I don't know. But you know what I was saying about the NFT?
Yeah.
You know, it was a sort of a thing for a while, wasn't it, NFTs? And
oh, yeah.
I don't know if it still is, but I feel that
there's a new thing now apparently coming through.
And do you know what? This is exactly why I'm so glad I didn't get too involved with NFTs. I had a little try and it didn't work out. And frankly, my experience of NFTs is it's just a doorway for scammers to try and get you. Do you know what I mean? And
I think everything's a doorway for scammers to try and get you.
NFTs, you know what I feel like that NFTs are like? They're like Betamax, you know, the old Betamax. And anyone under the age of sort of 50, I probably won't remember what they are. But, you know, when you get something like a record player and and then that soon gets outdated, and then it's the CDs, isn't it? And then that gets outdated and then it's like the digital stuff. And I feel like the NFTs were just they're like you said, something new now, so that's not a thing.
Well, there's just something new on a different crypto coin, but I mean they're still going, but they're just not as huge as they were.
Anything with the word crypto in it, I just instantly I back right off of. I'm just like, nah, I'm not going down that route.
I find it quite fascinating, actually.
Yeah, so, you do, because you're very geeky like that, aren't you?
Yeah,
I find it totally like an absolute repellent. If anyone says to me anything about crypto or NFTs now, I'm like, not interested. I don't even answer now. I'm like, nah.
No, I mean, there's an interesting idea behind it all, so I kind of like that. But yeah,
it's a bit like you know, I like that. I just like having an actual thing to touch, and I can feel it, and someone's hands have been on it, and they've, you know, it's been on their easel. The idea of just having a digital thing just does nothing for me, like, at all. But each to their own.
It's like people who, it's like people who collected basketball cards, you know, the baseball cards or whatever they were, you know, stuff like that, or Pokemon cards. It's almost that sort of thing. Can I just say though about the scam thing?
Yeah,
something I've learned that I want to share. So I learned this in the group, that if someone is being like this and you're not sure, when they say, "Oh, I'd like to buy this one," obviously we've talked about the scams before, and you've mentioned how somehow they try and get money for you through PayPal, don't they? They say they've sent you the wrong amount, and then you had to pay them at the surplus. So what I've been told is that if you think, oh, I think it is genuine, and you want to try and sell it to them, always send them. Don't tell them what your PayPal address is to send you the money. You send them an invoice. So via PayPal, you can make your own invoice. So they say, do that, because I think then they can't pay the wrong amount if they click that invoice.
Right.
it is the right amount on the invoice, or put the things, even if you haven't got it on your website at the moment, go and put it on your website, so they have to buy it through your website. I mean, I'm sure they can still do things to dodgy stuff, but at least you've got a little bit more safeguard.
I don't like, I did say last time, didn't I, on the last episode about the gallery, and that on the one hand, it's your prices go right up, and you have to take a lot less for your work, because obviously the gallery deserve their part, because they're the ones that have got the audience more than you have. They're the ones that have got people walking in with cash in their pocket, and they are looking to buy art, whereas it's not as likely that someone's going to stumble across my website and go, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that. Do you know what I mean? So, and without a lot of hard marketing, which I'm not very good at, as in I don't push my work. I tend to it's like my cake. I've put that up probably twice, maybe 3 times in one way or another, and that'll be it. I'll probably put it up again in a month or so. I don't know if it doesn't go, but the beauty, the thing I don't like about the art gallery is, like I said last week, sometimes you're waiting ages. They don't tell you the Brimmer's sold it. I will tell him this time. I'm going to say, look, if you sell this, I have to know straight away, because I have to take it directly down from my website, because I do not want someone else buying it for me to have to say, oh, it's sold. So I'm going to make that very clear this time. So I do think there's that element of they delay payments sometimes, and, they put the prices up and you don't get as much. However, there is that lovely part where you haven't got to deal with scammers. You haven't got to deal with anything. Or are they dodgy? Aren't they dodgy? You haven't got
Except
to.
The gallery could be dodgy,
Well, I'm guessing he's not, because he sold 3 paintings.
He's not
got
now.
The money yet. No, I know the gallery.
But you
anyway,
couldn't get hold of him, so you never know.
No, you don't. No, I mean, I do in one sense. I know, because I've driven past his gallery in Tunbridge Wells many, many times, and I love some of the stuff in there, and he's got some really, really good high-end stuff in there. And when I drove past, he had my wine bottles in his window. This was obviously when he first took them and stuff like that. And he just happened to be in hospital. That's not his fault, I guess, but he should have told me they'd been sold. Anyway, what I do love about the gallery is the fact that I haven't got to wrap it. I haven't got to post it. I haven't got to be responsible for that painting once it's in his hands. It's like, okay, well, if you find a buyer, great. You do all the work from there. And all I do is just take a cut, which is not high enough cut at the moment, but it's still a lot less hassle, and it's not hassle selling a painting, is it? But do you know what I mean? I
totally know what you mean.
It's just easier. Somebody's coming along, seeing your art, buying it, and that they've seen it.
You don't have to deal with it,
and I don't have to deal with it. Yeah.
The thing I don't like about that is that you will never know
who they were,
and so unless they happen to connect with you because they've looked you up or whatever, you couldn't then go to them, oh, thank you so much for buying this, and then you couldn't then email them, say, a month later and say, oh, just before I put this on our website, I thought this would go fantastically with whatever they bought.
See, I wouldn't do that anyway. This is where I'm not good at marketing.
Yes, but you perhaps would if you started selling a few and you'd made a little bit of a relationship with them.
Yeah. But then, they've got my signature. They can look me up. It doesn't even say S. Busby. I write Sandra Busby on all my stuff. So it's not like they can't look me up if they want.
No, it's not like they can't look you up. But if they'd bought it directly from you, you would already have their contact details.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes effort from them to bother looking you up. Whereas
that's true. Yeah.
You could start building something with them.
Yeah, this is where I'd be really bad, because if somebody bought my work, I would not then email them and say, oh, I've got this. Unless they said to me, let me know if you have any other things similar come up. I wouldn't do that. And I know that that's not and that's why I'll probably never be a rich artist, because I don't, and it's like I won't put a pop-up on my website, and I know that you should really, but to try and grasp emails. I've never done that. And I won't, because I want people to come onto my website and enjoy browsing it in peace without a window coming up saying, I want your email address. Do you know what I mean? So I'm I'm a very quiet seller, and I'm very much appreciate any art I sell, but I won't pressure anyone to do that,
Well, I'm crap at selling as well, but I think if I started building a audience of people, so I've had sold a few pieces, but they're not to people who I necessarily would think want to buy loads. I have no idea if they do or not.
No.
But someone who bought a piece recently, I still don't actually know who it is. I've got their email, and they say they follow me on social media, but there's no one who follows me on social media with that name that I can find.
Oh, okay.
So I can only assume that on social media, they go by a different last name.
Yeah.
You know how some people do that, don't they?
Yeah.
And so I can't follow them because I don't know who they are.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah. Well, they might be. But I'm not creepy anyway. Honest.
But all of this stuff, the whole having to try and sell and that is what I mean by prioritizing the fun stuff, is not doing any of that, or not prioritizing any of that. All of that's it's like the worky stuff, isn't it? It's like the stuff that all artists have to do to sell.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I mean, let's face it, the fun part is the painting, and the non-fun part is then trying to sell it. That's the thing. It's the marketing side, isn't it? It's never really fun. Well, some of it is, like if you make little videos and things, that's fun. But I do think that one thing, and that's if you're ready to get onto are you ready to get onto the actual? Yeah. So I would say that the one thing about being an artist who is somebody who sells, it's so easy, isn't it, to lose touch with that other side. The bit where when you first sort of started realizing, I love drawing. Oh, I love doing this. And then you just do it, and you're not worried about what it looks like. You just do it, and you just, you're like, or somebody's birthday card's coming up and you make them a card or whatever, and you just enjoy it, and it's just fun, and you're not doing it for any other reason than you're just enjoying that creative process. And I do think that when you become, and this is something I've noticed, is when you become an artist who paints serious paintings, and you do realize you need to keep up certain level of workflow. You've got to keep your website with paintings on it, otherwise what's the point? And it's then easy to kind of put that other stuff completely to the back burner, and then actually get out of the habit of that, and then forgetting just that freedom of going, there's a bird on I'm going to sketch that bird, or I don't know, just going, look at these crayons, I might try these, do you know what I mean? Or just taking a sketchbook out and having a bit of fun with it. It's really easy not to do that anymore when you do the serious paintings, because it takes more time, I guess. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, recently I was getting a bit of a mess in my own head about what to paint, because I'm trying to think commercially.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is not. And in the end, I've just come to the conclusion that I have to paint things for me, basically. Yes. Not all the time, but I have to do some painting for me. So that is kind of what I've been doing with the ink stuff, because the ink stuff is much more just free and flowing kind of thing, and I can tone the colours. But then, say, when I was working with acrylics, I'm actually thinking a bit more commercially when I'm doing that sort of thing. But I've realised I need to have the stuff for me. It can't just be the stuff to be commercial. And did I tell you what my friend said when I saw her the other week? I can't remember if I said this on the last podcast.
I don't know. What was it?
Oh, well, because she was saying, how's everything going? She actually bought a print from me. Yeah. And I was quite surprised. And she goes, I love your stuff. I got it. I really like it. And she said, I said, oh, yeah, I'm trying. I said, sometimes I worry because I think my stuff's a little bit different. She goes, oh, your stuff is so different. She said, but that's what makes it good. And
yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's unique.
I liked it because she's not an artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know she wouldn't have said that if she didn't mean it. It wasn't like because she didn't even have to mention my art or, talk about it really. And I thought, oh, so she's even saying, a non-artist is saying, keep doing what you do because that's what makes it different, almost.
100%. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, my
so
Paul,
that's when I thought, yeah.
My Paul, yeah. he said something the other day. It's quite funny. It's not funny. He was looking at, he just saw something of yours pop up and he goes, do you know what? He said, well, you should ask Tara, if we can, well, obviously to buy, if she could do like something like that for our lounge, but like, I don't know, of you or, I mean, in me. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't want a picture of me on my lounge wall. And secondly,
in my weird style.
I said, secondly, if you give Tara a commission, she will hate it. I said, no.
Yeah, I would.
I said, she wouldn't want to do it, Paul. She would not want to do it. He goes, oh, that's a shame. But he really likes your stuff. He's like, he does. Yeah, he really likes it. And he is the type of guy that I've had to train to be able to take in a gallery, because he's one of the people that will go, oh, a 3-year-old could do that. Typical bloke, non-artist.
That's doesn't say that about mine.
No, totally. No, not at all. So
which one was he looking at?
I literally can't remember. It was probably, to tell you the truth, it was probably more like about 3 or 4 weeks ago that he said it. But it was.
He's not the scammer woman, is he?
No. But also, what did make me chuckle. I love your work. I absolutely love your work, and there are certain ones of it. I'm like, that. There was one I was looking at for a while. But anyway, the thing is, our house, how we've done our house up, and I know that art should not be about matching the sofa. I know that.
It's tradition.
But it's it's traditional in one sense, but modern in another. But it's kind of where he was suggesting we put this painting. We've decorated our lounge. It's kind of like almost like this sort of can I describe it as sort of French style wallpaper? But it's quite traditional and very. And I looked at him sideways. I went, but it's completely the wrong style for this room.
Yeah, it would be totally.
But in the right surroundings, it would be
like putting a wall. It would
be like putting a blooming Renaissance painting by, I don't know, whatever.
In a travel lodge.
It did make me laugh. And he does. He says it's very different. And I know that I don't know. Yeah, would have been my mum has said it in the past. And Jean, Paul's auntie Jean, she loves your stuff. So I do think she has, and I think it's because it is very recognisable when something comes up and it's yours. And I also know when somebody posts something that's inspired by your stuff. You can tell it's not yours, but you also can tell that that's what it's been inspired by. So, I think you've got everything you need. You've got all of the ingredients, and now you're trying to work on the commercial side and working out a way of getting it out there. But that's not the fun stuff, is it? The fun stuff, I always remember when you started painting this style. And this went from doodling in your sketchbook and doodling little characters to then going on to draw, to enjoy faces. And that literally came from you doing our challenge February faces, didn't it? That, I think. Am I right?
Well, I've been through lots of iterations. I mean, these actually came from the 50 ways to draw a face.
Oh, that's right. I thought originally you did February faces and said, I really love drawing.
Started me on page faces.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes, so that started you. That got you realising the subject you like to do.
Yeah,
and I remember you just loving that experimental stage where you're like, "Oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that." But then, as soon as it became something like, "Oh, now I need to do a series," but it needs to be this sort of similar, and then you kind of got a bit. You didn't like that so much, did you? When you had to sort of stick to the same thing.
Bored.
And then you start again, you sort of, you weren't prioritizing the fun stuff anymore by experimenting and continuing that evolution. You were sort of trying to stick with something, but then eventually you started evolving anyway and just going, do you know what, I need to move on and I need to do a different style. But funny enough, you've managed to do that somehow, but still stay with as the same, very much the same artist, but someone who's clearly just done different things and moved on and everything's evolved. But that's every great artist has done that, haven't they?
Well, I wouldn't put myself in the great artist thing. But,
no.
I
didn't even say no, but
not supposed to be talking about me either. I only want to make a little thingy. We've gone on to me. We're supposed to be talking about having fun with your art.
Well, no, but that was my point, though. My point was that the fun you had was that when you're experimenting to do something new, and then sometimes you lose touch with that. And as soon as you lose touch with that, you get quite down, don't you?
Yeah, it's almost like I can do. So I've done this kind of, the eye with this squinty eye kind of thing. I've done that for quite a while now, and then I do get to a point, and I think, do you know, I like this, but am I now doing squinty eye for the hell of doing squinty eye?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in particular. I'm just using that as an example. Do you know what I mean? So then you think, should I push it and try something different with it? But then you then think, oh, that's recognisable as me. And instead of just doing what the hell you want, you're then in your head. You're in your own head, aren't you? Instead of just, does it matter? I can do what I want. That's what you should think.
And I think everything, I mean, it's like Paul says, he said, I can always tell when you've enjoyed a painting and when you haven't so much. And it's so true. And he's always right. He's always right,
Yeah.
He knows me inside out, and he knows my work, obviously. And I think he knows the mindset I was in when I created it. But at the end of it, he'll always say, yeah, I can tell that, you've really enjoyed that. I can tell you've loved every minute of this. Which is always good, And I think one of the things I would say about making sure you don't stop having fun is, I think we were talking about mindset last time, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Staying in a good mindset. And I think if you just prioritize the other things, like making sure you're trying to fit with what you normally do and get stuff ready for a gallery or this, that, and the other, it can become like a bit boring. But also that fun is what I feel is good for my mental health in particular. I'm sure it's the same for everybody. If you don't ever have fun, it's like all work and no play, isn't it? If everyone just goes out to work every day, comes home, has dinner, watches telly, go to bed, goes work next day, comes home, watch telly, go to bed, quite often people who do that are actually can be quite depressed because they're not stimulating their brains and minds with things that are uplifting and fun. They're just they're stuck in a routine. And I think getting stuck in a routine, even when it comes to doing art, whether it's a hobby or you're trying to make money out of it, it's really important to remember that by doing different things and trying different things, it's actually very good for your mental health, and that gets you in a good mindset. That helps to keep you in a good mindset.
Yeah, do we equate that having fun is experimenting?
I think in art, yes, not just experimenting, but maybe instead of standing at an easel doing a realism painting, it's just about going outdoors in nature and grabbing a sketchbook and a pen, going for a walk, sitting on a log, getting your bum wet and drawing a frog or whatever in a pond or a lily pad, anything. Yeah. It doesn't have to be experimental. I think it just means, what I mean by it is that just trying to not always just do the same stuff and remember, I think that's what Felicity, remember Felicity Fizz? A memory come up on Facebook the other day of a drawing I did of, I think it was about 4 years ago, and she was swinging from a chandelier in a knickers and vest. And I saw it, and as soon as I saw it, I just smiled. I thought, oh God, I remember that. And for anyone listening who doesn't know who Felicity Fizz is, she's like this cartoon character I created, and I pretty much drew her through lockdown. She was almost like an alter ego. She was always doing stupid things, and I don't know. And she used to do things like she used to hoover naked, and and I just looked at it and laughed. I thought, oh God, yeah, that was my fun stuff. That was my bit of fun. And as a realism painter, and you look at these cartoons, you think, God, you'd never believe the same woman did that piece of art and then drew that. And that's what I mean. Just try and remember the silly little things, even if you know, you're leaving your husband or your wife or your spouse a note saying,
I thought you just say even if you're leaving your husband, you can still have fun with your art.
Even if you're leaving your husband or your wife or your spouse a note, you know, please don't forget to pick up sausages. Draw some sausages. It's silly little things like that, right? That's how you fit art into your life when you haven't got time. Shopping list. Do a silly little drawing.
Speaking of talking of notes, I remember when me and Kevin were like first going out, well, for the first few years actually, and sometimes we'd leave each other notes, just silly little ones, like say I'd left earlier than him or something, and he'd been staying at mine or I'd been staying at his.
Yeah. And
then it'd always have kiss, kiss, and then a frog, which would be a Frenchie.
Oh. Are we allowed to say that?
Probably not.
We're
politically incorrect.
Probably very politically incorrect. But weren't we roast beefs or something? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, roast beef.
Yeah. I'm very sorry, any French people listening, if that offended, but it wasn't meant to. But I do feel like sometimes as artists, we forget to separate our creative work from our creative selves, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm saying? So not to forget you're a creative person. It doesn't have to just start and stop at your easel. It's those little silly little things. It's like on our board at work, because obviously, you know, I work from home. I work with Paul. I sort out all of his work and all that stuff, as well as doing the art. But we've got a whiteboard, and it's like a big planner. And next Sunday, don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast. Obviously, I'm sure everyone is aware that we lost our dog Sherlock in October. And we've decided that we want to get another puppy, which will be coming in. It's not even a sperm, this puppy, and I keep talking about it. It's an egg. It's not a sperm. But there's a planned litter, and we're due to get the new puppy in December. And should I be talking about sperm on the podcast? I'm not sure. But basically, we are going along on Sunday to meet this dog's parents and get a feel for, you know, the breed, blah, 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 blah. And on his board on the Sunday, instead of just writing going to Maidstone to look at the pups, I've drawn a dog with curly ears and a bone. And, you know, I've just made a bit of a fun drawing. And do you know what? That's a silly little drawing. And I found it really fun, and it was really creative. And it's just like, it's so much less boring when you look at the board and there's a little drawing of a dog and a bone than it is go to see puppies. And it's those sort of things I would have always done. I mean, Paul remembers when we first met. I mean, he remembers this more than I do, but he said you always used to draw cartoons, loads of them, all the time. And it was generally cartoons of us doing silly things. And I did, you know, in my 20s and that, I did sort of draw little cartoons. Easy, isn't it, as you get older, to kind of forget that stuff and forget those little things you do. And I don't know. So I just think, don't forget, you're not just an artist. You're a general creative person, and you should remember the fun bits that make you that person, you know?
Yeah, I know if I'm getting in a real rut with my art, like, you know, say my head's spinning and everything. Like the other day, I just did that thing, the exercise where you get a piece of sketchbook, you get a pen, like a water-soluble, and I do a scribble, and then I make the scribble into a character. It's actually in our character and cartoon course.
Yeah.
That exercise. But that is just, you just let go, don't you? Because it's, again, that no expectation thing. And I actually quite like how some of them turn out as well. But anything like that, and also collage for me is one of those as well. You know, you just put a few bits on the page. You do it as well, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes.
On your sketchbook page.
Sometimes.
And it's, I don't know, something like that just breaks things up as well, doesn't it? Takes the preciousness away.
It does. It really does. It's just that, and that not sort of worrying about it being a good drawing.
Yeah. Doing a class as well. Don't know about you. I mean, quite often I'll do a class, but I won't do the whole thing. I'll just pick and choose bits that interest me out of it. So I did remember, actually, I did all of Lewis Rosignol's, which is highly unusual for me, because he had a class on his sort of style. I didn't want to learn how to do his style, but I just thought I might pick up some ideas from it. And what I did like from that was he does things very kind of haphazard, and he puts lots of different things on a page, doesn't he? And just even when you sort of grasp that idea and you can kind of bring that into your own work, that adds a little bit of fun, doesn't it? A bit of newness, I think. It's almost newness, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I do think courses can help you maybe see things or discover new things that you wouldn't have otherwise. And, you know, going very briefly, without being a sales pitch at all, but, you know, our cartoon course, for anyone who loves to do things like that, but they just don't quite know where to start or how to go about it. That is a really good course, actually, I think, for especially people who, you know, just don't quite. It's like we're very different, aren't we? I think I did a bit on how I came, how I got Felicity Fizz and how I kind of came up with that kind of style. And you had a very different approach, and you went with a lot of things about, you know, this squiggle and turning it into something that was really clever. So those kind of little courses that aren't very serious, they're fun. And that's the thing. I think that's what I like about it. It's a fun course, and it teaches you to do fun things. And it also teaches you that it's about the process, and it's about the process that should be fun. You're not thinking about that. And we say this a lot, don't we? Don't think about the end result. Obviously, it's very different when you are painting. For a painting you've got to put on your website or get to a gallery or whatever. That's a different thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about sketchbooks and experimenting and things like that. It is, you know, you've got that to me is more about the process of doing it rather than what the end result is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the fun bit.
Yeah, I also think, and you'll hate this, like, I think one of the really fun ways of doing things for me is to actually apply materials in a really difficult way to control. That is your worst nightmare, isn't it?
Actually, no, not anymore. Yes, on an easel for sure, but no, I'm much more open to things like that now in my sketchbook, and I really like that. And I think that came about from taking away the control when I started playing around with line contour and continuous line. I've realised that actually when you do things like that, they are so much more characterful, and I actually prefer the results. You know, I don't know what it is about them. A non-artist would then look at the art, the sketchbook, and go, "Oh my God, what is this?" But I think an actual artist could probably appreciate what I'm trying to do, I suppose.
Well, I remember we went to do that Adobe thing, and we had to pick some exercises that we were going to do and be filmed doing. And I think I said to you, "Why don't we do a blind contour?" And you go, "Oh my God, no."
I know, it's crazy. I really like them now. I'm a bit out of practice at the moment. I haven't done any for a while, but I really like the pages I've done where they are. And it's funny though, because I've got this new sketchbook, which I'm still waiting to start because I've still got a few pages of my other one. But, you know, it's funny because we talk about this, don't we? Artists would understand that what the concept behind the blind contour and everything else, whereas a non-artist would pick it up and go, "Good grief, well, obviously no one wants that," and chuck it in the bin because they think it was a load of rubbish. And I was thinking it'd be funny to put in the front of the page just this like a tiny print of a few of my realism paintings to say, this is the stuff I do generally. So if you do find it, just understand that this is the other side of me. Please give it back. Do you know what I mean? But then it would be almost like me explaining myself, explaining why these drawings are so rubbish, or not rubbish, but not to me anyway, but to them. It's a way of letting go of this part of me and just embracing that part of me. It's like the monikers. Anyone who's ever watched Friends, it's like I feel like I'm a Monica, where she's got this cupboard. Have you ever seen that episode? Have you ever seen Friends?
Neat.
Yeah, she's incredibly. Yeah, she's incredibly like a neat freak, proper neat freak. And I'm a bit like that. I am. But what's funny is on one episode, and it's the only episode that ever touches on this, but one episode, Chandler, he moves in and he discovers this locked cupboard and he just cannot get into it. And he's so desperate to find out what on earth is in this cupboard. And I think eventually somehow they managed to get in. And I think I don't know whether it's a credit card or something. Americans seem to be able to open their doors easily with a credit card. I don't know. But
you could hear.
He opens the door and all of this junk is piled from one end from ceiling to floor. And it's just really messy. And he's like gasping, going, oh my God. And she walks in and realizes what he's done, and he absolutely rips her to shreds, as in like takes the mick out of her, because she's got this side of her that's actually not not neat. And then he says, look, since we've got this cupboard now, can I share it? Can I put some of my stuff in there? And she says, well, no. And he says, well, why not? And she said, because I'm afraid you'll mess it up. So even her messy side, she's got that's her own mess. She doesn't want anyone else to mess it up. But I feel a bit like that. I feel like there's this part of me that's really, really neat and organized. And then there's this other part of me that can let go and be complete opposite and love it. But I don't necessarily want everyone to see it. I don't care now, but, in the past, I've hidden that side of me a bit more.
Maybe she's some blind contours of your realism paintings.
No, I'd find that boring. You see, I'll tell you why, because this is the other thing. I do still life and I love doing still life, but you will not find anything like that in my sketchbook. It's always people or places. It's never, in fact, it's mainly people. I just like drawing people, and I don't paint them, but I love drawing them. So I wouldn't find it fun. If anything, I think it would be carrying that through to my sketchbook, and I don't. I want to keep the two separate, I think apart from helping us discover new techniques like blind contour and things like that, which is when I first embraced that, what's the word I'm looking for? Mess, I suppose, because they are messy, aren't they? I think what is different about doing things like that and being creative in your normal life, whether it's in a sketchbook or writing notes for your other half and doing silly pictures, it's a very different thing between the obligation you feel when you're doing a painting because you know that somebody else has asked for it, whether that's a commission or a gallery, and they want this and they want that, and you feel obliged, you've got to get it done and you have to do it. And that's a very different feeling, isn't it, than when you're just doing something for a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like you saying that, about me doing a pull wanting to commission, I'd hate it.
Yeah, you would.
As soon as it's for someone else, you're under pressure, aren't you? You're trying to please someone else other than yourself.
Are you creative in any other way? Like, I know obviously you do your painting and that, and I know sometimes you do your sketching and stuff, but do you do things like that when you leave notes, or do you have any other creative hobbies? That's something I don't actually know, even all this time I've known you. But do you enjoy other creative stuff?
I've tried to learn guitar and I've tried to learn keyboard, of which I didn't succeed because I'm not very disciplined in that way. So
But would you,
for a few years.
Would you do things like write stories or poems or?
No, I used to write poems when I was a kid.
Yeah,
but no, I'm just not really interested.
Yeah.
But I am quite interested. Whereas you said like you're not that interested in marketing, I do actually find some of that quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by kind of business and learning about business and stuff like that. You see, not necessarily creative, but I like it. And I'm very interested in mindset and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think this is where having the fun is really good for you at that mindset, isn't it? As I said before.
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, no, I'm fascinated by stuff like that, but not really. No, I actually was thinking the other day, maybe I need another hobby. I told you this.
No.
Yeah.
Like what? What would it be?
Well, because when I was getting my knickers in a twist about what to paint. You remember I told you a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I was getting right old spin, and Kevin said, "Oh, just go out and do something." I go, "What?" And that was it. What do I go out and do? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I can go out and walk the dog, but I don't know.
You did try running for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't really like it.
No. I
know
what you mean. It doesn't have to be creative. It's just, I do think hobbies are very important for everybody. Anyone I know who doesn't have a hobby are generally much less happy than the people I know who do. I don't think people realise how important it is to have something outside of your everyday normal life, work, eat, watch TV, sleep. If that is all anyone does and they don't have anything else,
Do you have anything else?
Oh my gosh. Well, I do love my exercising, and I do that. I only do it 3 times a week now, but I enjoy that. I do miss walking the dog, actually, although not in this weather we've been having. But no, I will sit and I've written poetry recently. I've been writing some poems. If I couldn't draw or paint, I would write. I would write books. I'd love to write books. I'd love to be a writer. Oh my gosh, my ideal, right? If somebody could say to me and offer me a job right now, it would be someone writing articles. So not necessarily.
Well, you can easily pitch that, like I've told you before.
Yeah, but who's going to stop you? Who's going to hire someone who's not been to writing college or whatever? I don't know.
You don't have to have been to writing college. You just have to write something that will be interesting to their readers.
Yeah, but do you know what? I don't think they need it anymore. They can just go onto AI and go, write something about this, and it'll do it for them.
No, because they will want things with a personal angle, with someone with personal experience.
Yeah.
It depends what sort of articles you want to write. What sort of articles do you want to write?
Anything. It's not necessarily about art at all. You could say, right, review this cake. It's actual cake you eat.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But for me, it's about the poetry of writing. It's about
you start a blog, don't you?
It's about painting a picture with words. That's what I love doing. So yeah, I love doing things like that. I do enjoy writing. Oh gosh, what hobbies do I could have hundreds, but I don't know who has time. Who has time for that? No. So guess for me, yeah, if I could sit and get out of my own head, it would be writing. Or I also love making videos, little videos. I love it. I love making little videos. I probably should just do a YouTube channel, but then there's 100 billion YouTube channels out there now, so it's
but it doesn't matter, does it?
No, but I quite like anything creative that you get a little finished product at the end of it. It doesn't have to be brilliant, but
Yeah.
So
I'd love it. I'd love an art group. That's what I would love. Not an art group as in to sit and make art. I would love it if there was an art social group or sketching. There is one, you see, but everybody's retired.
So what sort of group? Are you talking about like a bit like Urban Sketchers where you form a group and then you meet up? for like drink and draw and stuff. Yeah,
I'd love it if it was something local where they were like that.
This is where if we live nearer to each other, we could start one.
Yeah, if there was a mix of there is an urban sketches, but it's I don't like driving, and it's in the town that's a bit I don't fancy driving to. But if there was an art group, I have tried to set one up as you know, to meetups and stuff. But that's what I would love, just to get together with some creative people. And I say there is one, and I've been, and there's nice people, but nearly everybody's retired, and it'd be nice to have a mix of people.
It's a shame there's not a way, unless there is a way of doing it digitally.
I don't want to organise it.
No, but do you know what I mean? Where you can somehow go out sketching together, all in, all online together. But then even that's quite difficult. I mean, during COVID, I think, let's face it, one of the good things about COVID is you didn't actually have to, you could
talk to anyone.
You didn't have to talk to anyone, and you could spend your life in pajamas. And then somebody suggested Zoom, God. And suddenly you're sitting there staring at a screen with 5 different faces, all talking at once because there's a time difference. And it's like, what the hell, But if it was a bit easier than that, and you could actually have several people on a screen, and you could all be wherever you want to be, outdoors, obviously. Say you decided, let's go, we're going to go out and do a local or a cafe drawing or a woodland drawing or anything outdoors, and you could all join this live group, and you could do it with them. I kind of like the idea of that. I guess that's one idea of doing it.
It's not quite the same though, is it?
No, it's not. And also you'd feel a bit of a prat, wouldn't you, in the cafe chatting away to us? Yeah, you would.
So it's just you kind of want the social aspect as well as drawing, don't you?
Yeah.
Because if it's an art group, you at least know that even if you've not met any of these people before, you've got something in common, haven't you, to chat about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I am thinking about trying a few things, but we'll see. The problem is, really, I'm quite happy on my own.
Yeah, I mean, I've never needed company, I must admit. I'm not someone who craves company. I enjoy company, but I equally enjoy not having any company. I can take it or leave it. I'm fine with or without. So in that respect, I'm quite lucky, because I know some people they need company or they can't function, and I'm not like that at all. So I could easily enjoy going out sketching on my own. Probably to some degree, there's less pressure because you don't feel like you've got to produce anything that the other person is going to think is all right. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Getting out though, having a hobby, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't have to be creative. Even if it's going out and playing squash once a week, having a hobby, I think, is the most healthy thing that anyone can ever do, apart from eating well and all those other obvious things. I think having a hobby is right up there for keeping our mental health healthy, really. And I do think it's because of the fun. It's the fun, and I think everybody has to be able to have some fun in their life on a regular basis, and that's something we can forget as adults, isn't it? We forget about prioritizing that. We prioritize I better make sure I eat my vegetables. I better make sure I eat more good stuff than bad stuff. We'll do that, but we'll forget about
clean the bathroom. Better clean the bathroom.
Yeah, we'll prioritise doing that, or keeping the house clean, or getting the kids to school on time, and all that, which is obviously important. We forget about our own, just having some fun. And what's the point if you can't have any fun? What's the point? But yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything. Do you? Unless you want to add anything?
I think so. No, that's me done. So last time's question was, what's the most creative and fun way to fill the page of your new sketchbook? And this was ideas that you wanted because you were just starting yours, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got a couple of sketchbooks that I've yet to start because I've just still got a few pages of my old one. And I just thought, this was a very selfish question. So yeah, I thought, I want some fun ideas. So Andy W. Art, I do quite a bit of sketchbook work, so my first page is always a case of whatever I'm studying, learning, or problem solving at the time. I do have a friend who has a first page phobia. So I've done some calligraphy of inspiring or cheeky quotes to get her sketchbook started. And okay. I like that, the cheeky quote. That sounds up my street.
I've got Maggie Fitz. I always leave the first page blank. Then I come back to it once I feel invested in the work of the sketchbook. See, I'd find that harder because if I'd done stuff I liked in the rest of the sketchbook, I wouldn't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I feel like for me, as long as the first 3 or 4 pages I'm happy with, then I'd be happy on the 4th page to share it with one of my grandchildren that they could have a little draw. I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd actually like it, but I'd feel like I need a few pages first that I'm happy with before I'm allowed. I would allow myself to let go to that degree. Do you know what I mean?
You know, or
maybe I should. Maybe I should just get them to draw the first page.
They'll draw over the pages you like.
Oh no, I wouldn't let them do that. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you, I think. So, what's this? Mrs. Amy McKinley. An event/prompt. I think that's meant. Prompt. What's that then?
I'm not sure.
I don't know what that is.
You have to explain it to us a bit more, Amy.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
We're not quite sure what that is.
Yeah.
I've got Emma Miller, similar to Maggie, in that I'd start right away in the middle.
A lot of people say that, don't they? Start somewhere else. Okay, Carol Whitmore. I have a sketchbook collection now, big, small, medium, and tiny travel ones. My definition of the precious page is different now than it used to be. In the past, precious page meant I couldn't waste the page with something playful or thoughtless. Today's precious is absolutely the opposite. It's totally playful and fun and full of risk and experimentation and feeling with desire to just do something / anything and everything in that moment. Then there is the sketchbook with ideas, usually for commissions or assignments. Yeah, I feel like I've changed in that way now.
I've got Cavalmari 24. I start on page 2 and did the first page with a challenge or creative blobs.
Oh, we love a blob, don't we? We love a creative blob.
Yeah.
Erica Besson. I write my name, phone number and email address because should I lose it, it might make its way back to me. Then I often doodle and start fresh on page 2. Yeah, I do think that's a good idea, actually, writing your details down in case it's lost. Yeah.
I've got Giraffe Fever Art. I usually swatch different materials to see how they work on the paper.
See, that's the sort of thing I've done on the back page, but not on the front.
Yeah, it does make sense to test it out because each sketchbook's different, isn't it? How it takes stuff, especially water.
Yeah, definitely. I've got Create 30 for 30. Zentangle step outs. Always gets the hands warmed up and ideas flowing. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever done a Zentangle.
No, me neither.
No.
I've got Doe Evans. If it's a sketchbook for a particular project, I draw a map on the first page and highlight the places I go to as I sketch. That's a good idea. Last year, for the USK French National Meeting in Toulouse, my map showed my train journey to Toulouse.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, and I apologise for the frog thing because I just said it was perhaps French. Sorry about that.
I've been to Toulouse. Yeah.
I think I have as well.
Yeah, I like Toulouse. Odidra, is this? Odidra. This is obviously an Instagram handle. I just pick something I want to do. I quit working on my sketchbooks in chronological order when I had no money for a new one and started going through old ones, looking for a mostly blank page to work on. Now that I can buy new sketchbooks again, I just turn to a random page and get going. If that page is busy, I look for another random page. The chaos is liberating. Ooh, yeah. It must be, actually.
Nice idea.
Mm.
I've got IR Moo Art. I just start directly with the topic of the sketchbook. In the portrait sketchbook, I painted a portrait directly on the first page. I'm not afraid to start new sketchbooks. Sometimes I also design a welcome page where I note the date of the start and the end of the sketchbook.
I've got Jane Lydia Loves. Fill it with different styles of lettering with your first name. Write at different angles and in different colours. Or I once filled a page with my name in different language scripts, e.g. Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Russian, all in different colours and sizes. Do you know, that's one thing about my sketchbooks. I avoid writing in them really because I always feel like the writing ruins it.
Yeah,
my normal handwriting,
rubbish.
it's okay, but it's like chicken scrawl really. And
yeah,
I often see people using stamps and I think, oh yeah, I could do that. Use stamps. I like the idea of that.
I've got Baby Duck 23707. I sometimes let my kids or friends draw on it. Also, I go with the intent of making bad art on the first page. Lol.
Yeah, then the only way is up, eh?
Yeah.
And we've got Micah Work. Actually, we received a lovely email from Micah, didn't we? I don't know if anyone listened to the last episode. Originally, I pronounced it Maker de Work, which I thought was really funny. But it's actually Micah Work. She corrected us. And then you were saying, oh, I'm not sure if it's a female name or a male name, and we sort of wondered. I looked it up and said, oh no, it's a female Dutch name, and then we were worried that actually she might be a burly rugby bloke player. We got a lovely email from Micah saying, no, I'm definitely a female and I'm not a burly rugby player. But she was delighted that we'd gone to the trouble of actually looking up her name, so at least we've got it right. Anyway, Micah says, while I'm always a little excited for my first sketch or drawing in a new sketchbook, the moment I open the sketchbook, it's suddenly just another white page and I sketch whatever I want to sketch. Yeah, that's a really good point. If you directly follow on from an old sketchbook and start a new one straight away, I suppose maybe the mindset needs to be, this is just the next page. It might be a different book, but it's just the next page. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So have we got a new question?
Yes, we have. And that question is, how do you balance experimenting with new styles or mediums, or let's say having fun, while staying true to your existing voice? So how do you balance experimenting and having fun with new styles and mediums while staying true to your existing voice?
Yeah, and you can let us know your answers in the Facebook group, which if you haven't already joined, I highly suggest you do. We'll put the question up there and also on the Facebook page and, of course, on Instagram, which is Kick in the Creatives. And we'll read out the best answers in the next episode.
So we hope that gave you the kick in the creatives you needed. Don't forget to pop over to our website at kickinthecreatives.com to find out how you can take part in some of our upcoming creative challenges. And of course, there you can also subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we'd be so grateful if you'd leave us a little review or even just a star rating. If you don't have much time, if you don't like the podcast, then don't leave us a review. If you want to find either myself or Tara online, I'm on Instagram as Sandra.Busby. I'm on Facebook as Sandra Busby Artist, and my website is sandrabusbyart.com. Tara, where can people find you?
You can find me on my website, which is tararoskellart.com, on Instagram and Facebook as Tara Roskell Art. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to our Kick in the Creative newsletter to keep up with the challenges and the podcasts. And you can do that via our website. Also, we've got a course that we've mentioned a couple of times. Sorry about that. It's how to create characters and cartoons for fun. You can find a link to the course on our website or go to kickinthecreatives.com/cartoon course.
And if you enjoy what we do and you'd like to help support Kick in the Creatives, you can now support us by buying us a coffee, and you can find the Ko-fi link on our website. At this point is where I normally thank each one of you individually who has donated. However, I think it's only been a week since we last recorded, so we haven't actually had any. Some people do like a monthly thing, which is always nice. But
I'm getting quite thirsty.
Yeah, we're getting very thirsty here. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
But if you can't help us in that way, there are other things you can do. You can share our episodes with other creatives or write us a nice review. All of these things help, and we really do appreciate any support you can give. But that is it for this week, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, perhaps you'd like to share it and leave a review for us on iTunes.